Premium Care Personal Touch. Medicalia, they are the sole sponsors of this program. They are located at the Tropic Shopping Center, Senegambia. Go visit them for all the ENT. Well, interesting, Mr. Ade, isn't it?
Interesting indeed. Ear, nose, and throat.
Yes.
In case people are wondering what ENT is. Yes, and,
Exactly.
and they have everything. They do glasses, they do your ears, they check it, they clean it. I've been there and they've done it, so I know.
So go visit Medicalia at the Tropic Shopping Center, Senegambia. Lolly M. Kamara.
Yes.
Madam Pice.
Yes, Mr. Valde.
We are back again.
Oh, yes, and feel good to be back again. Yes,
absolutely.
ready to give it to the public.
Definitely. And the
Yes.
public are waiting to receive it.
Oh, yes, fully.
Yeah, so how was your day yesterday?
Alhamdulillah, I went home very early. I had a little conversation at home because my brother is starting school.
Oh, okay.
So we had to sit as a family
That's
to
family
strategize.
chit-chat.
Yes, to strategize to see how we work out
Very
things.
important.
Alhamdulillah, everything is okay, and he's starting today.
Mashallah.
And
I wish him all
My
the best.
boss was really understanding. So
Okay.
Thank
It's good to have a very understanding boss.
yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, viewers. You're watching QTV this morning, and today on the program, we'll be doing the African proverb, the newspaper review, and of course, we'll also do social issues, clamping down on illicit drugs. Usman Seidi Bapiaro, Drug Law Enforcement Agency, will be here, and on Community Watch International Week for the Deaf, Lamin Sonko, Sign Language Interpreter, and Modulum, Executive Director, Deaf Association. That will also be having the click as well. That's a rundown of the This Morning program today. So we'll start with the African proverb, Lolly.
Yes, and the African proverb reads, if you love the girl, you have to love the mother too. That's the proverb for you today.
Hey,
Mr. Ade,
Hi!
if you love the girl, you have to love the mother too. But what about
And
if,
you
the
made
mother,
that
if the mother
strange-
is not lovable?
That's why I went,
Hey.
What about if the mother is not lovable?
Listen, she might be watching because I know she visits the Gambia sometimes, my ex-mother-in-law. To be honest, we didn't get on. She didn't like me.
Yeah.
I won't lie. Like I said, I hope she's watching. She even once phoned me to tell me that she resented the fact that her daughter married me for love and not for money.
Yeah?
So that proverb, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it at all. At all. Not even slightly.
No way.
Not even slightly. What?
Mr. Valde, we should have
Please.
discussed this earlier upstairs before coming.
No, because, you know, theoretically it's a good proverb, but the reality is life is like that. There, I know of many other instances where if you take it in the literal sense, there have been people who the mother did not like her son-in-law, you know, her daughter's husband. So it happens. I mean, but in an ideal situation, yes, you love the girl, you love the mother too, because you hope that that mother is the one who brought them up, taught them how to be a person and so on. So yeah, but yeah, that's mine. So over to you, Lolly.
Yes, and also my own understanding of the proverb. Sometimes you want to marry a woman, but when you're told that the woman is having children or kid, you wouldn't want to marry the woman.
Okay.
You know, so at some point they will say, no, because you have a child somewhere, so I cannot marry you.
Right.
And you know, you don't know the condition of the woman. You don't know in what situation was he because he got the child. So obviously, if you have to go for the woman, you have to go with the family.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and as the Wolof would say, so buge gana fonga bola si ay chuja me. So you see,
Yes.
so it's important that you know you cannot just choose the head and leave the tail. It has to go together. You know, at some as Mr. Ade said, oh, but society nowadays they wouldn't want to go in for that, and it's breaking families, it's breaking relationships, and women sometimes they will tell you everything. I have a child. If you're ready, fine. If you want to, I cannot leave my child behind. So it has to, we have to go together. And some will say fine, they will accept it in good faith. But some, their family members.
But the way you're telling it, you're almost telling it like if you love the mother,
Yes.
you have. You're turning it around. This one says if you love the girl,
Girl, yes.
you have to love the mother.
The mother.
So it's like not it's
children,
it's not the child, because the way you've flipped it, it's like
okay.
if you love the mother and she has children, you have to love those children too. But that's not what the proverb is saying.
Yes,
the proverb is saying if you love the girl,
you have to love the mother.
The mother.
Exactly.
It's the other way around.
Exactly.
So it's not quite the same thing. I don't think.
Exactly. and that makes it what you just said, because in our societies that has become a problem. That has become a problem. It has break relationships.
Since I've been here, I know of at least 2 where the parents did not approve of the prospective husband.
I've even sat with someone who said, I wanted to marry a guy, but my mother stopped the relationship because they did not approve.
Yes, that's exactly the kind of situation that I've seen twice since I've been here.
So that girl was really in love with the boy, and they were even about to get married. So they got the girl another man to marry. But it was very difficult. The relationship couldn't go because the girl was so much in love with the boy, but because of the parents, they couldn't go. So the boy was also angry that the woman was not being fair to her.
Sure. I'm going to upset a few people here, because when young people used to come to me for advice and they would tell me that kind of scenario, I used to say to them, your parents have had their lives. They are trying to decide your life. You're the one who's going to have to live it, not them. They've lived their lives. Yes, they care for you, they brought you up and so on. It is going to be your life. You have to make the decision that you want for yourself. You can't, They can't make a decision for you. They can't live your life for you. Nor can you live their lives for them.
Exactly.
So go against your parents.
I'm told this proverb is from Zaire.
It's from Zaire.
Yes, Zaire. You know, when I talk about Zaire, when I hear this name, it reminds me of inflation. Yes. You know,
and hyperinflation.
When I was going to school, when they tell you define inflation, having too much of money chasing few goods, but they'll take an example the former Zaire. You understand?
Now Democratic Republic of Congo.
It reminds me of
but what's your take on the proverb? Because you haven't given us yours.
It's more to that. I mean, it's more to just loving the mother. It's telling you, you need to, like the African setup that we have, we need to adjust to accommodating other family members. It's telling you, you have to appreciate another lineage as well. I mean, the connection that is there.
The extended family.
Yes, exactly. So today, let's just take a sample. I mean, if you marry a woman in an African society like ours, they will tell you, when you marry your wife, she needs to stay with your parents. She needs to stay with like, in the family compound, where she will be interacting with everybody.
The Asians have it too.
There are even brothers who will tell you, I mean, this is our wife. Yes, quite. You understand? So I think, Mr. Ade, I think the proverb it's talking about appreciating, connecting.
Yes.
Yes. I'm told that we should take a short break.
Okay.
We'll be back.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
are back, and you are watching QTV this morning. Well, it's unfortunate I couldn't interpret the proverb much.
You couldn't delve
because of
into it.
Time. Now let's go to the newspaper review. And what do you have there, Lord?
I have the Fourier with me, and on the front page it reads, flood victims lodged at a Friendship Hostel allowed to stay. NA says that National Assembly lays down conditions on government audited accounts, fuel prices reduced. And also, Interior Minister says Fonyi incident led to general insecurity of, is it?
The area.
Yes, okay, thank you. I'm not seeing properly.
Yes, it's
the CRCS launches global rules-based migration program. And also National Assembly convey, I can't see properly.
This is convenes second extraordinary session on Thursday.
All right, thank you.
Yes, the ink is not.
It's not very
There's
clear.
something on
And
there's something on the editorial.
Well, I was going to say,
Yes.
because the editorial seems to contradict the headline. It says, well, okay, the editorial says APRC NCP Alliance should be a teacher. I guess should teach us a lesson, I'm not sure. But I was going to talk about the flood victims one if we can quickly, because top left, big headline, flood victims lodged at Friendship Hostel, allowed to stay, and then underneath it says until ... And then bottom right it says, are the flood victims housed at the Friendship Hotel, this time they call it, not hostel, on the same page, to be evicted. So one is saying they're to stay
allowed
until,
to stay.
and then the next one it says, are they to be evicted? Because they themselves they've been raising the same concerns. You know, what is to happen to us?
Okay, all right. Might be matter of miscommunication. Maybe before Fourier picked the story up, I mean, these people have already made a decision for them to stay until further notice. It can be the case. Because I know if genuinely Fourier receives an information that they are to stay until further notice, they will not put this on the editorial.
Well, except there's a caveat, because you have to look underneath where it says until, and then ... So perhaps that means they've been given a deadline, and then they are to be evicted. So perhaps it doesn't contradict the thing, because it may be that they've been given a deadline. So it says until ... So yeah. So that's
well. Don't you think the flood victims? I mean, it's high time, because all the waters have gone down now. I think most of the streets of Banjul are cleared. I mean, I can see the Red Cross were busy putting this infectants in the water to make sure it is safe for them to inhabit their homes again.
But for some people, it's not just a case of inhabiting their homes. The homes have to be refurbished, and in some instances, the houses' walls collapsed, and those walls have to be rebuilt. So it's not just about, oh, the flood waters have gone down. And I think we tend to forget that. We tend to think, oh, the flood waters have gone, so it must be fine for them. But no, I mean, you know, goods were destroyed, food destroyed, everything destroyed because of the floodwater. And so it's not just a case of walking back into your home, because there are many things, you know, the walls may have become unsafe because of too much water inundation. So there are many things to consider.
Maybe to the victims that are still there were severely affected. This is why they couldn't still go back to their homes. So I think that, yes, that could have also been another condition or situation. So, and that will take time before they can really restructure everything again and be allowed to go back to their homes. So I think the situation really needs close check-in.
I mean, luckily there are lots of people, Disaster Management Agency, Red Cross, there are lots of people working together, they're collaborating to make sure that they can do what's best for these people. But I remember we were discussing this probably on drive time, and I said to them, I'm one of these people who I never sleep easy in a bed that's not mine. And so you can imagine they don't want to stay in the Friendship Hostel for long. They want to get out as soon as possible and ideally get back to their houses. But there must be a reason why they haven't done so.
There must be a reason. Oh, yes.
Absolutely. But I mean, I think the situation needs to be looked at properly. Year in, year out, I mean, we experience floods in this country. I think it's high time now something to be done. When the flood started, many people came over. Each and every person is talking about what should be done. But what should be done? You talked about it. Yes, we accept it, we like it, we appreciate it. But how are we going to implement it?
Yeah.
The implementation bit is the problem.
If you look around the world, this has been one of the worst years for floods.
Exactly.
On our African news roundup, we've had 2 floods from 2 different areas in Nigeria. And what's scary about that is that these are areas that have never had flooding before. In Pakistan, hundreds, if not thousands, have died. I mean, they've probably been one of the worst hit countries. In parts of Japan, in Korea, South Korea, 14 people died as a result of flooding. And these are countries that have taken all sorts of steps. Sometimes nature can put all your plans and just rip them up. You can make all the plans you want, but things happen. We were told
That's modern nature for you.
this is it, heavier than normal rainfall, and so this is the impact. So yes, but I think in a sense you're right, because I think people talk about the capital Banjul being very low lying, but what flood defenses have we made around Banjul to actually sort of protect us against flood? If you go there, there's not much. So really, you have a point.
Exactly. And when you look at the geography of Banjul, it's a problem. I mean, when I was going to school, I attended Pajuf. That's the St. Augustine's Junior Secondary School.
Right.
You know, you will hear people talk about in 50 years, Banjul will be flooded. Like the whole Banjul will be in floods. I mean, so I think if something is not done, we are definitely going towards that.
I think that timetable has been shortened to about 15 years now, because if you see there are documentaries online, anybody can find them on YouTube, just talk about the 10 capital cities most in danger of flooding.
Yeah, exactly.
Banjul is one of them.
Banjul is one of them.
The 10.
There are 10 around the world
Capitals, yeah.
that are capital cities that are in danger of being flooded, and Banjul is one of those capitals. And when they say flooded, one of them says within the next 10 years, by the way.
It's telling you how serious.
So it's a serious
can be.
matter. It's a serious matter, but I don't get the sense that we're treating it seriously. I
Definitely.
really don't.
And every disaster management agency would always come out to give like so early warning signs, and they will always say it would be above normal, or you know.
Yeah.
So I think institutions or organizations should really heed to these advices and put in measures to make sure that when things happen, there will be swift responses.
I think more than any of these organizations, it should be the government.
Exactly.
If I'm the head of a government and I'm told that my capital city will flood in 10 years, I'll do something about it right now.
Right now.
Not wait for 1, 2 or
Disaster
any.
to
I'll do it
happen,
right now. I'll start doing stuff. So I think we need to move very, very swiftly if we don't want the worst to happen.
All right, now let's proceed. I mean, fuel prices reduced.
Reduced.
I learned that they reduced $2.
$2.
Yes. So it's around 78. So.
Yes, which helps, because when they go up, we complain. And now that they come down, hopefully people will celebrate. But obviously people want it to come down even more. So, yeah.
That's a good thing, and I think the government said they will keep monitoring the situation. Anytime that it goes lower, they will also reduce it.
You heard about
So
the
I think that's a good
$2 price too.
They drop.
Yes.
There was a press release or something yesterday.
Yes.
It was reduced to $2.
By two.
By $2.
Not hey to
Yeah,
$2.
$2. See, that would be the cheapest price
We'll
ever.
all be running. We'll be
By
cheaper
$2.
than Saudi. Cheaper than Saudi.
I know someone said, wow, for $2.
Up to $2. Let me just go
All right.
get $10.
So both petrol and diesel are down.
Yeah, both are
I think
reduced.
that's okay. Gradually, I think we will get there.
Yes,
Things are
I
reduced.
think when sanity returns to the world and oil prices go down, then our fuel bills will also go down, of course. Yeah.
Mr. Hade, don't you think it's high time for people to look at other means of maybe energy instead of this heavy fuel that we use? I mean, we are depleting our ozone layer.
Yes, you know,
we are having a lot of problems.
Yes, but you know the reason I'm smiling, because those countries that are transitioning from fuel are going to electricity. We can't even get electricity for our homes, never mind for our cars. So let's not even think about it right now. You know, we're struggling to get electricity. You know, every day I face a blackout at home. I mean, for God's sake,
Yeah.
you know. So moving from you know, oil-based fuels and fossil fuels to it's a non-starter.
Let's use solar. Let's use
For the cars.
wind vane. We have the wind vane here.
Well, we should be using solar and wind for our electricity, and that would help. But to kind of wean ourselves off that to the kind of cars, because now in England, almost every car that comes off the production line is a hybrid car. It can use petrol and it can use electricity.
Sure.
And you know, you go along the streets of London, you'll see points where you can just charge your car. You plug it in, and you know, it charges the electricity.
Wow.
But I've seen
Quite
a
common now.
video. I think one of the Rwandan sites. I saw a video where they have bicycle within the environment, where you can use a bike, go park, someone can pick your bike, go to Serekunda, another one will take it, go, you take another one. And
They have that in London too.
But they have a special place where they park these
That's
bicycles.
right.
So you don't need to worry about transportation.
Exactly, and I think in Rwanda, not long ago, we've seen the president, you know, having no car, like a free car. They walked from their homes to the offices.
That's right. There are days where they ban all cars.
All cars.
And of course, Rwanda being Rwanda, everybody adheres to it. You know, yes.
Yeah,
In fact, I just posted something about the president of Rwanda going to Singapore to attend the Grand Prix, and I said, can you imagine any other African president going to attend a Grand Prix in Singapore? Everybody will be complaining. My God, my president travels too much. He did that. Well, hey, you know.
All right, Mr. Ade, thank you very much. I mean, I'm told time is up.
Time is
Now we'll go for a commercial break.
enemy.
After the break, then we'll go to Community Watch. As you know, International Week for the Deaf. And Lamin Sonko, sign language interpreter, and Dudulum, Executive Director, Deaf Association of the Gambia, will be here to talk about the day. So what we'll do, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll be back.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Save up to 50% energy with the new side-by-side Samsung. Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. That's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus, we innovate, others follow. Refrigerator. Samsung air conditioners come with HD filter and antibacterial for your protection. Save time, energy, and effort by using our washing machines, loaded with innovative features that offer superior cleaning technology. Step into the future of television with our slick and slim Samsung Smart TV designs. Sizes range from 32 to 85 inches. Smart LED, Crystal UHD Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dark LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV. Unparalleled vision, right from the comfort of your living room. Our products are backed with 1-year warranty. Visit us at QCell Building at Caraba Avenue or at Boost Turntable. Contact us on 333-217 or email us at info@quantumnet.gm. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
Opticalia is a leading European brand which is now in the Gambia. Are you looking for glasses? Then you have come to the right place. As a first step, we will perform an eye exam to ensure we prescribe the correct lenses for you. After that, you can select a frame of your choice. We have a variety of brands in stock, and you will definitely find yours. You can have the full package of frame plus lenses starting from $990 up to more for the most fashionable options. Once you find a frame you like, your lenses will immediately be edged by our lab technician. Within 30 minutes, you will be able to leave with your prescription glasses and a huge smile on your face. How amazing is that? Visit us at the Tropic Shopping Center near Senegambia from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day of the week, or call us on 503-4411 or 776.
The program is sponsored by Opticalia. They are located at the Tropic Shopping Center, Senegambia. We are back again, and now we go straight to the community watch. It is International Week for the Deaf, and to help us understand what does it mean, Lolly, and what are some of the activities they do on this day. We have Lamin Sonko, sign language interpreter, and Dudulum, executive director of the Deaf Association. You are welcome, Mr. Loom. Please take us through on this day, the International Week for the Deaf.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
International Week of Deaf People is an initiative of World Federation of Deaf. I think information is now worldwide. More people know about it. Now, it came to us in the year 2012. That was the year we started celebrating International Week of Deaf People. This was supported by a project. So, the following year, and up to the year 2016, we have been celebrating that. But after 2016, there were difficulties due to financing. We used to spend over 400,000 days. Yes, our ordinary members come all the way from the provinces. We provide accommodation from the feet as well as t-shirts and wood banners and so on. Yeah. But it has become very hard now. So we limit it to simple activities that doesn't cost us much. We used to organize a campaign, a march past mostly from Westfield, right down to our office, on which we make a speech presentation. Sometimes we organize symposiums, and then dramas. But it is all intended to show the public, yes, about the concerns of deaf people. I see this is the main reason for celebrating. Okay. Other countries, they rejoice over the achievements they have made. But for us, we have no cause to rejoice. We always use it to send some message to the duty bearers, as say the government and NGOs. Yes. Our message concerned about the need for them to change attitudes, yes, and to embrace sign language, which is at the center of the people's problems. Yeah. That's what we say. Yeah. Exactly. That's what we do.
Yes, that is very important. So I would like to know, what are you trying to communicate to the public by commemorating this day? Because it's a week-long activity.
Well, our message has always been the same since we started celebrating International Week of Deaf People. We want the government to embrace sign language. This sign language, as I said, is at the center of deaf people's problem. Now, let me tell you, deaf people, they cannot utilize spoken language. This is the main reason why they have been discriminated against. Yeah. So now deaf people decide to invent sign language. And the sign language, it is as good as spoken language. It can be relied on as spoken language is being relied on. But the problem is, the society rejects the sign language. So because of this rejection, deaf people cannot access opportunities that other people are enjoying. Deaf people cannot participate in society, and they cannot take control over things that affect their lives. Just say, I say empowerment. So this is the problem, this is the message we want to give to the authorities. When sign language is fully taken up by the authorities, deaf people will have no problem. They will be very happy. There will be no question of marginalization, segregation, and so on. You will see ourselves participating in society, getting education, getting good medical treatment, yes, making use of the public information like the information channels. For example, now without sign language interpreter, deaf people cannot take news. So, this interpreter is not being paid by the government. So you see, you are still the same. Sign language must be recognized. If sign language is ignored, no progress for deaf people. No matter what people say, because we are in it. We are in it, we understand it fully. Nobody can tell us when you go this way you will develop. None of that. So you see.
Okay.
So our message is the same. Giving a message to authorities, those who are concerned, those who have the decision making in their hands, yes, for them to consider sign language. They get together with the Gambia Association of Deaf and try to promote the sign language.
That's very important. And again, what does this week means to the persons living with disability, especially the deaf?
Well, they see it as an opportunity because it is seen worldwide. The television show other countries where their activities. Some countries, they go up to the president and the cabinet ministers. Some they go to their national assemblies. They make a kind of strong show. So deaf people, we are used to this since 2012. In the time when we start celebrating this, so we think it as a time when we should talk strongly. We should give information to whoever could listen. When we have no fund, for example, to organize a police band to go ahead of us, and we go on a march past because we have to pay them. Well, we limit it to just staying in our headquarters. Yeah, we talk. We invite some personalities to come there, so we talk to them about this, what is needed. Yeah. So we did. Some others, the deaf youth, they feel happy in seeing themselves in T-shirts. Yeah. So they come together to see each other. That also makes them happy. Sometimes deaf people in Basse, deaf people in Brikama, deaf people in Bakau, sometimes they don't meet often. Huh? Only it makes possible this video call, and they use that, but it's expensive for most deaf people. So occasions like this, they try to find money to transport to come to the center.
Exactly. Let's talk about the disability bill. I mean, we've seen the bill, and what can you tell us about this bill?
Well, according to my understanding, disability bill has now become a law. I am a board member of Gambia Federation of the Disabled as well, and I often attend meetings. We discuss about disability law issues. Now we understand that it is enacted by the National Assembly. Now it has become a law. But this law has not been implemented. This implementation is the problem. Now the authority seems to be silent about this. You think an enactment of law is not enough. It has to be implemented. Yes, in order for life of persons with disabilities to change for the better. So we are pushing ahead. We talk more about this. Some ask questions, why after this enactment, nothing happened. Everybody is silent. The authority doesn't say more about it. So we talk about this. We plan to face the authorities, yes, to push them to do something about it. Thank you.
Exactly. So what are you doing to improve the lives of your members? I mean, the association, the members itself.
This is a very important question. Not many have been asking. Well, we are there for that. Gambia Association for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing is there to work to ensure the life of deaf people change for the better. Now, since at the beginning we realized that our problem is communication. Why this is a communication? Because the only way in which deaf people can communicate is rejected by our authorities. So, with the best wishes in the world, you cannot make a deaf person talk, or you cannot make him understand verbally what you are saying. See? So, they have to use sign language. So this, we realize this, and we embark on the promoting Gambian Sign Language. Because we are in Gambia, we choose to promote Gambian Sign Language. If you ask me, I will tell you why. But our strive to develop the sign language, yes, it has taken 3 directions. One is to give priority to the teachers. I mean professional teachers of deaf people, whether they are hearing or deaf. These teachers, if they are trained in deaf way, they will need to help to assess deaf children and adults to education. Yeah. So this means, it means teachers of the deaf must be fluent, they must be professionals in use of sign language, etc. If this happens, many deaf children will have education and they will proceed on to higher levels. Okay. The other area is training and employment of sign language interpreters. Okay. Well, there is no other body in the country that would train sign language interpreters apart from our organization. So we do this. We strive to train interpreters. Interpreters are hearing people who can understand sign language and then act as an interpreter between the deaf and hearing for many different reasons. It is very important. The teachers, they concentrate on training children at schools for education or skill training areas. But interpreters is general. If a deaf person wants medical treatment, if a deaf person wants to participate in conferences and something like that, we use interpreter. If a deaf person wants to participate in family discussions or community discussions, we use interpreter. So when there is no interpreter, there is a problem. Still, the law can be against a deaf person who is innocent. Let's say if it's taking the law enforcement officers, when they cannot understand a deaf person, they will just think about what happened and what way they think may not be the right thing. You see, so this is why we think training sign language interpreters are important.
Mr. Loom, let's talk about capacity building for your members. Capacity building. What are you doing about it?
Well, mostly we train our staff on the job. That's the staff. Our members' capacity building, we try to develop regional branches. These regional branches, almost each local administration area have a regional branch of Garo. So these regional branches, we try to train members there. start to make them raise their awareness about themselves, yes, and how they could interact with their community, yes, for them to participate in awareness raising in their local areas. What we do, we think this is very important. So the capacity of deaf people means to help them to communicate. Number two, make them aware of their environment, that they need to use sign language to rely on it fully as far as they cannot use any other language. Yeah. And then to push their local authorities like the area council for support. Because as it is there, they are paying tax in their areas, they work there, but they are forgotten. Yeah. Not because the authorities don't like them, but they find it difficult to find a way to help them. So this is how we raise the capacity of our members at various parts of the country. So they become aware also. Females, many of them are very aware and they participate in awareness raising. Now there are many deaf females in our organization who talk more about this in awareness raising. Yeah. When it comes to women issues, they talk more and they are well aware.
Yes.
So that is important, and we must commend you. So far since establishment, what are some of the achievements that you have gained for your membership, and some of the challenges that you would like to share with us, because we know it's not easy, especially for the students?
I want to first of all talk about deaf people, not organization, the material organization. We don't consider that as achievement, yes. But how people change, how people's life change. Guys, what? Now, this sign language, it is at the center of everything. When our organization starts, up to now, we have been trying to connect deaf people together. And now sign language was able to do this. When we train deaf people to use sign language, now they try to find each other's company. Yeah? They feel like with each other because they can communicate with each other. They feel at ease. Most of them would even leave their families during their spare times just to be part of the deaf group. If you go to centers, many centers, you will see them. Not that because they hate or dislike their families, but they don't enjoy it. Imagine sitting in your family and people talking, you don't understand the head of tail of what they are saying. When you ask them, they tell you something the same you don't understand. What comes into your mind is to leave, go to sit among people whom you can exchange information and like that. So you see, many deaf people have confidence now. Some they go up to employer and employ person and ask him and beg for employment. Tell him I am a deaf person, I cannot get job anywhere. Those who are more sympathetic, they would just help more identification about the deaf person. When they call God, will give a recommendation about the person, you know, and they would have to get some kind of employment.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on the program. I am told the time is up. Thank you for coming. We will monitor all the developments, and don't hesitate. Anytime you want to share something with the public, you can come on this platform. This platform is for you. It belongs to you people. You understand? So it is very important, and we are happy that you've shared this whole information with us. You know, we will try to go and learn sign language so that we can also do. You never know tomorrow what will happen. You can have a child who is deaf, so you need to learn these things.
And we have seen some parents trying to learn, you know, the sign language so that they can communicate it effectively with their children.
Yeah. So thank you very much for coming. Yes, thank you, Lamin, for coming on this platform. We appreciate it. And viewers, will take a short break. After the break, then we'll look at social issues. We'll be talking to Usman Seidi Bah. We'll be back.
Thank you very much.
Espas Motors is the largest and most modern auto service in the Gambia. Espas Motors is the only authorized dealer in Chevy, Mercedes-Benz trucks, Mercedes-Benz buses, Kia, Ford, Futon Mini and Midi buses, Futon trucks. At Espas Motors, we have qualified professionals who use modern technology to diagnose and repair all brands of motor vehicles. Espas Motors services include auto sales, auto repairs, vehicle painting, availability of high-quality spare parts, towing services. We are reachable at any time. Call Espas Motors on 352222 353-4444 or locate us on the Bertel Harding Highway. Espas Motors. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network. Save up to 50% energy with the new side-by-side Samsung refrigerator. Samsung air conditioners come with HD filter and antibacterial for your protection. Save time, energy, and effort by using our washing machines, loaded with innovative features that offer superior cleaning technology. Step into the future of television with our slick and slim Samsung Smart TV designs. Sizes range from 32 to 85 inches. Smart LED, Crystal UHD Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dark LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV. Unparalleled vision, right from the comfort of your living room. Our products are backed with 1-year warranty. Visit us at QCell Building at Caraba Avenue or at Boosterview Turntable. Contact us on 333-3217 or email us at info@quantumnet.gm. Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. And that's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus, we innovate, others follow.
This is QTV This Morning. We are back again from that break. I mean, interesting deliberation there by Dudu Lum and Lamin Sonko. I mean, it's important for us to accommodate the deaf community also because they are part of the community.
They are part of us.
Yes, they are part of us. So, Loli, it's important. So now we'll go to social issues.
Straight up.
So it's important for us to talk to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency.
Yes,
exactly.
It's the talk of the town.
Yeah,
so we welcome you on this platform.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we have Usman Seidiba. Well, I'm surprised. The show name is Seidiba, but he said he can speak Fula.
Really? He said that?
He looks Fula.
And you're actually publicizing that.
Definitely. I'll have to do that. I'll have to do that. I think we need to take you somewhere and teach you Fula.
Well, I know that they said he can, and they said about a lot. We will work on that.
All right. So it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, we are all busy trying to develop our nation. Each and every person, the way you can do it, that's what you're going to do. So we have seen the Drug Law Enforcement Agency have also been busy on a lot of activities. Yesterday, we have seen Lamin Choi, I mean, witnessing the weighing of some of these drugs. So it's important for you to tell us, what are some of the activities that you are doing right now?
Thank you very much. It's clear that battling issues of drugs is on two fronts. We have what we call the supply suppression and the drug demand reduction.
Supply suppression looks at interdiction and legal processes. That is arresting people, investigating the offenses, prior to that gathering intelligence on them and then eventual prosecution. But we all know that through the criminal justice system, the reason for doing that or incarcerating people is not just to lock them up, but to reform, rehabilitate, and reintegrate them back into society. So this brings the issue for people to understand that when we talk about supply suppression, we talk about the criminal justice system. It's not only us. There are different players that are involved. On the other aspect, you have the drug demand reduction that deals with prevention, treatment and care, harm reduction, alternative development, and alternative livelihood. So in the Gambia, basically what we do is we work on the supply suppression component that has to do with the interdiction and legal processes, but we also work on drug demand reduction. But what is much prevalent on what we do in the country here is preventive drug demand reduction. That is creating awareness, putting in place intervention programs. We have school-based intervention programs, community-based intervention programs, and very limited work-based intervention programs. There is also the aspect of treatment. But then again, we do not have a specialized treatment facility in the country, as we all know, although training have happened to capacitate those who offer services for people who are affected by drugs, or what we call SUD, substance use disorders. So these are the things that we are doing. On the supply component, officers are gathering their intelligence, conducting their raids from targets, and registering cases. On the drug demand reduction component also, we run at least, I think, 4 radio programs on a weekly basis. We visit schools, we have drug-free clubs in schools, we have community outreach programs, we have community youth groups as well that we are engaging. So basically these are the things that we're doing.
Okay. This is what you do. I know my people in the control room wants to join the conversation. I can hear you, on my intercom, Francis. Yeah, so it's important for us to talk about this. I mean, we've seen recently a lot of raids, a lot of arrests,
a lot of seizures.
A lot of seizures. I mean, Lolly.
When it, with regards to the drugs. And would you like to tell us about the seizures? Because with the recent one, which was published yesterday, we noticed that it is the highest seizure. So would like to know, compared to those years, because we've seen cases last year from 2021 to date. Tell us more about the seizures.
Comparatively, I want to believe with regards to cocaine seizure.
Exactly, cocaine seizures.
The Banda case, that's a seizure at the seaport, is much bigger than this because that is almost 3 tons. And then 2010, you had also over a ton or almost a ton, which was the case at Bonto, the 2010 Bonto seizure. But then again, as you said, this is also a very significant seizure in a sense that it's about 840 kilograms, 734 blocks that weigh 840 kilograms of cocaine. Yes, when you look at it from that perspective, for the seizure of cocaine, we can say it's among the 3 biggest seizures. When it goes to the seizure of hashish, the seizure sometimes around 2020, at the end of 2020, the hashish seizure, the Moroccan hashish seizure of almost a quarter ton of Moroccan hashish was also among the biggest seizure. But comparatively, beside these big seizures that are always in transit that are done, cannabis remain the most highly seized drugs. And this is not just for the Gambia. And because I always tell people to refer back to the Wendo report and get a regional perspective. This is the West African Epidemiology Network on Drug Use. You can Google it and then you see the report. You have the PANDA report, Pan-African Epidemiology Network on Drug Use. Even when you look at the UNODC Global World Drug Report, you will notice that African countries, cannabis continue to account for the bulk of their seizure.
Sure.
One, you look at the weather, you look at affordability, you look at accessibility. These are all factors that are influencing that. So I don't know whether specifically you want me to buttress on this, but if you look at the general seizure, cannabis will account for the bulk of our seizure. But there have been instances also where we've made landmark seizure regarding the seizure of cocaine and the seizure of also Moroccan hashish. And it's important to know that when we talk about cannabis, there are different strains of cannabis, because mostly when you talk about cannabis, people try to limit the discussion to cannabis sativa. It's not only cannabis sativa. You have cannabis ruderalis today that is available. This is skunk. Some call the skunk.
So there are different categories.
Different categories and different
Is it
varieties.
different from the normal cannabis that we have?
Far different. They are all different, but they are all different varieties of cannabis. You have the cannabis ruderalis, that is the skunk. If you could recall, sometimes back, there was a seizure that involved a British national who was guising himself as a philanthropist, and then also as a businessman, had 2 different houses in 2 different locations. And in fact, interesting thing about that seizure was that he was experimenting on the cultivation of different types of cannabis when they are mixed together. And mostly, cannabis ruderalis, or skunk, are forms of cannabis that you don't grow outside. You make use of heavy-duty light. You grow them inside the house, right? And then you also have, today, many don't know, this kush. We used to say that maybe many don't know that kush is kubejara, because maybe if they know that, many will not think of smoking that. You have the issue of also the kubejara. Then you also have the issue of the Moroccan hash that we are talking about, which is also another condensed form of cannabis called cannabis resin. So these are all different varieties of cannabis. But as I said, most of the time when you discuss about this, people try to limit the discussion to cannabis sativa. And it's not only cannabis sativa. There are different strains of cannabis.
So all this cannabis you're talking about, which one causes the biggest damage? Which one is the worst?
In prevention science or treatment management, different individuals, because of their physiological setup, the body, the social structure, the combinative drug use, the impact and the incidence on them could be different. But we do know that, as I said, this skunk is highly potent, because you're looking at the level of potency, right? It's highly potent. That is, it could cause much harm on the individual. But how X react to the particular usage of a drug and why we react, there are different other factors. This is why when you try to diagnose these issues, you use either the DSM, that is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual by the American Psychiatric Association, you have the WHO ICD, International Classification of Diseases. So there are many other factors and information that you use to take into consideration in deciding and looking at the harm that it causes on the individual. That's one. 2, the mode and the level of usage. Because today it's very difficult for you to find most of these youth who use this drug that use only cannabis. I used to say, what you use, how you use it, how you progress depends on, 1, the finance available to you, where you party, where you club, those that you go out with, and what other variable drugs that are there. Because remember, when somebody becomes addicted to drug, there is not a boundary. Because when you want to avoid the withdrawal symptoms, as your system becomes tolerant, you increase the dosage. And if you want to avoid the withdrawal symptom, what happens is that you could take anything that can get you high. And in that process of experimentation, you could go into another different type of drug that perhaps in the long run can cause severe damage on you. So in terms of potency, as I said, it depends on the individual, it depends on it. In fact, we have a word called morbidity, common co-occurring mental and medical disorder. I could have an underlying condition, right? I use a specific type of drug. This is why people used to ask, why is X not getting a problem, but I'm getting a problem? Some things are also genetically. It can also affect you. So it's not a simple issue as people try to present the issues of drugs in most quarters.
That's very important. And also we've seen a lot of cases, crimes happening, and most people will associate it to this youth using drugs. So, and in your assessment, you have a component that is reform, rehabilitation, and reintegration. How effective is this? If somebody is in custody, what are some of the methods you use to counsel the individual so that from there it will be easier for the individual to either stop it completely, and when it comes to the rehabilitation and reintegration, how effective is that back in society?
Yes, you are right. There is what we call DIC, drug-induced crime, just like you have drug-induced psychosis, mental disorders that are caused as a result of drugs. But as I said, presently in the Gambia, we do not have a specialized drug treatment facility. And most of our programs are centered on prevention component, on the aspect of treatment and care. But then again, what you said is also very important. Because in as much as we may not have the facility, but when you come into contact with offenders, how you process them, how you engage them could have an impact in helping to reform them. This is why when we have our in-house training for our officer commandants or commissioners or SOs, these are the issues that we bring to them. Because globally, many people may not understand this. It is said that at the supply suppression front, you should criminalize the drug problem. But on the drug demand reduction component, it should be seen as a health problem so that treatment and care services can be provided for them. As I said, we do not have it here, so that's why what we are doing mostly is emphasizing and going further on the aspect of prevention. Because even whereas there is a treatment facility, prevention is also still key. You can treat me for malaria, but if you don't tell me what I could do to prevent myself from not getting malaria, I'm coming back again. And in drug addiction management, we have what we call lapse and relapse. There is the possibility you treat somebody going back to the society. There are many other factors that could lead to him going back. And relapsing does not mean that he is just weak, but this is also common in managing the person's condition. So what we do is, as I said, talk to our officers to understand and see this dimension, that those who abuse, the way you process and handle them, and those who are high-level dealers, the approach should be different. In a sense that at the end of the day, when the case file is done, prosecution takes place, they move from our custody. This is why I talked earlier about the chain of the criminal justice system. The stronger the link, the stronger we will have result. Because from the point of arrest, we process them, we prosecute them, and when they are prosecuted, they are remanded in the prison. And I think at that level also now, that's where you talk about the reform and the rehabilitation and the reintegration. But as we said, I know prison, they're doing a lot. They've also tried to bring in some programs like occupational therapy for people, but then there is still room for improvement on either our own part, on their own part as well. But then again, these are progressive things that we are also looking at in-house to see how we're able to offer these services. And another good thing is we're working on reforming the Act, especially for first-time offenders and for cannabis. I remember sometimes in 2014 when the Act was amended to reduce the fine, many were jubilating. They didn't get the objective. The objective was not for you to be smoking drugs, but the objective was to be reducing the incidence of the number of people, especially young ones, that we take to the prison. But if you see it as an opportunity for you to abuse drugs, it becomes a problem.
Sure.
So this is why what we are now doing is to recommend community services for first-time offenders. KMC, BCC, and others have a lot of work to do. But even with that, it has to go with psychosocial support services, and addiction level also different. But then, as I used to say, it is one thing to have good laws. It is something totally different to have the infrastructure and the facilities that will help you to attain or realize the vision or the spirit of those laws. But we are working on those directions, and we are conscious of that.
Yeah, so let's talk about the mode of arrest. I mean, the way the drug law enforcement arrests people. According to what is said, it is not professional at all. They are always very harsh on people, especially when they are conducting their search. So is that the case?
And views will always remain different. It depends on those that you talk to. They will give that, and I'm also sure that others could have a different other perspective regarding that. But what we do know is, what we tell our people is, be professional in the due execution of your duty. Because being professional brings in result. In a sense that if people see professionalism in what you are doing, it gives them the confidence to engage you. But also, people also need to be conscious about the reality that battling drugs is not the same as going after a gentleman sitting somewhere else. You're mostly going, sometimes people under the influence of drugs are in different states of mind. One, the reactions could be different. Two, remember you need your substance. Without that particular exhibit, it becomes very difficult for you to proceed with your case. So therefore, most people also, when they know this, they try to destroy the exhibit. So you have to act swiftly. This is across the globe. Sometimes even you watch movies, I'm just bringing it there because some may not be involved in direct operations. When you knock 1, 2, if you do not swiftly act, the person could flush out the exhibit. So this is there. But whereas even this happened, as I used to say, even here, you train your staffs, you give them everything. People are different. They could go down to the street and act otherwise. What behoves or what is upon you, when the information comes to you, how do you act? What do you do? We make it clear to people that we have a professional standard disciplinary committee. The agency has a board. Almost all the service chiefs are there. The chairman of this board is Geso, who is a renowned human rights lawyer. He will not sacrifice his career for anybody, right? You have the director of health services. You have the permanent secretary, minister of interior. These are all people that are part of our board. We have a professional standard disciplinary committee, And where staffs have been found to be wanting, because we've had investigation that staffs have been found wanting, they've been dealt with accordingly. But now, if you say, we don't want you to be the referee and the player at the same time, there is the Office of the Ombudsman. At the National Assembly, there is a Defense and Security Committee. There is a Human Rights Committee, right? You can even institute a judicial inquiry. So why I say this is because illegality cannot give rise to validity. I don't want to be defensive, but I want, when we talk about these things, it's one thing to talk about the problem, but to provide alternative solution where people can seek help. Understand that if you feel that your right has been violated, we have the avenue to investigate the matter. But if you do not trust us, there are other oversight responsibilities. And if that does not solve it, I believe you'll be very much interested if substantial evidence is brought against them. But that notwithstanding, let people also understand that in as much as we are saying this, I will bring another evidence to show that sometimes it's not just our action, but it's the reaction of the boys. Remember the case in Basse, where our vehicle was destroyed. But not only our vehicle, a suspect who was in the custody, who was not handcuffed, was severely beaten by the thugs to near-death situation because they thought that he was an officer. I remember when I had the interview, some were saying, but why was he not cuffed?
Exactly.
He wasn't cuffed because if you are cooperative, there is no need sometimes to cuff you. Just to tell you the nature of that operation. So yes, in as much as we want to hold the officers to account, but we must also be conscious that there are some families and communities. And I tell you, this is not just for officers. I have experienced this at a personal level. See a compound in your area, they see their kids abusing drugs. Everybody know that drugs is being abused here. Talk to them and tell them that I have seen your son, the next day the mother will not talk to you. These are things I've experienced, and all of us live in communities, and you know what I'm talking about. So, and in most instances when officers come, these families will come out and then say that he will not go. So this is a challenge. Exactly. I'm not saying that there may not be situations where people may act otherwise, but when they act otherwise, there are avenues. But also, let us remember that there are communities who see their children doing wrong, see their family members doing wrong, and they don't want anybody to take an action against it or to even talk about it. So because we must look at it from two angles, from the angles of the officers, but from the angles of the community as well, and then look at the avenue. The officers can be held to account, but those people, where do you hold them to account? That is also another challenge.
Exactly, yes.
So before you come there, we've seen that you seized this cocaine. So after the seizure, what happens? Because normally we would see you burn down the cannabis, but I'm not sure about the cocaine. What happens now?
The cocaines are equally destroyed. Okay. The destruction takes place as one. You see, it's interesting because most of the time I remember there are a lot of discussions around this destruction. But as I used to say, everybody is an analyst today in this country, expert in all. I can sit even at my office there and then I talk about everything about even this morning show when I don't know who is the name of even the producer. You know, I don't know the editors, I don't know people. My point is, when destruction takes place, this is publicized. And people are told that it's a public destruction. It's not a private destruction. If you have interest in it, come to where the destruction takes place. Still, people will not come to the ground, but they will still have their own opinion. What we could do, the best we could do, is to present the facts as they are. Your perception on how you perceive, and then also, remember, when information go out, you look at one, the credibility of the information, the credibility of the source of the information, and the person who is talking about it, the competency, specification of that individual. But how many people can do such a critical analysis? It's different. So it's a challenge. What happened to the drugs is when seizure takes place, and people need to know this. There's a chain of custody.
Sure.
When we seize drugs, we prosecute the case. At the level, what is even investigation? Investigation is all about gathering evidence. You journalists do a lot of investigative journalism before you come there. This show that is here, you've done a lot of background work. As I'm talking now, you did a lot of background work.
Absolutely.
Asking me some questions does not mean that you do not know. Already you know the answer.
Exactly.
Some of this.
When you just, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
so my point is, many don't know about these things, right? When we go to the court, our finished product becomes a raw material. That is where we present our evidence. There is a magistrate and a judge. The chain of custody of the drug now moves from us to the court. Annually, if there is supposed to be a destruction, the record of the court against our record on all cases that have been dealt with, our women officer and exhibit officer will go to the court, right first to the AG's chambers, seeking clearance that we want to conduct a public destruction, because prior to that even, the agency's board has to give clearance. When the agency's board gives clearance, then we write to the AG's chambers. And then from there, these two people will now sit, look at their records. When they've looked at all their records, what next will happen is they will have to weigh the drugs, and a weighman certificate is issued. Your reporters have covered it.
Sure.
When you come up to the ground, this weighman certificate is publicized to everybody. And not just that, random, because you cannot test all of the drugs.
That's what we are saying here.
Exactly. What happened is, this is even, and I'll come to this aspect as well. What happens on that aspect is, you do random analysis of the drugs that are there for people to see. And at that point, people are asked.
They are analyzing the cocaine.
Exactly. At that point, you ask people, if anyone has a doubt or thinks that he wants to do his confirmatory test, you are welcome. People don't come to that and still have their own opinion. So as I said, you can only present the fact. And when facts are presented, it's up to the individual to think and then analyze. This one is a different scenario. This is not the first time. I remember Babukar Nanisi for QTV covered the Banda case.
Yes, the Banda.
What happened is, because of the same issue surrounding this, we were at the seaport, I could remember, from 9 o'clock, I think almost 5 o'clock. In fact, the container was opened in the presence of the media. All women done, we prayed Juma, it was on a Friday. I remember that day I went together with him, we prayed at Muslim. We were there till the whole day. Why we do this? It's for people to gain confidence. Because yes, people will have their doubt. But also remember, you are talking about drugs. This is the most lucrative form of illicit trade. And remember, when you talk about the information that we gather from social media, who is talking on social media? Could even be a dealer. Two institutions are never very popular: anti-corruption organizations and narcotic institutions. You cannot be arresting people's family members and you think you become very popular. But do your job within the best ability and justly and present the fact as it is. That is the best that we can do.
Absolutely.
But on perception and what people will say, people will always talk. As I said, sometimes even, I remember one training we did in Ghana, NACOP, their boss, was saying that sometimes we rush to publicize cases. Drug trafficking are transnational in nature.
Exactly.
Perhaps, let's say, a seizure. I have moved from South America. I am here. I'm expecting my container to be cleared, and I know that there is something there. I am monitoring all angles of information. Remember, they collect intelligence on us just like we collect intelligence on them. The moment this thing goes viral, what will I do? I will go underground. And if there are other possible links that are linked to that particular drug, if you rush to publicize that, are they not going to underground? They will go underground or hide their substances. So narcotic investigation is not as simple as people take it to be. And as I said, there's a lot of money that is in this drug alone. You're talking about more than $1.4 billion. It's not million.
Wow, that's a lot of
you
money
understand?
there.
Yeah, because in fact, if you're able to get this to Asian countries like some of the Arab countries, you can sell a kilo. Just one you're seeing there for $80,000.
What?
That is how much in dollars?
That's a lot of money, Lolly.
So people
He
don't
have
understand
said
that.
it, so
Lolly,
it's
are you
lucrative.
thinking what I'm thinking?
No, I'm scared already. I'm sitting with him.
All right, so what are we going to do, I mean, to prevent our own national drug law enforcement agencies personnel from tampering with those drugs?
As I said, the agency operates a very professional system. Wherever, you see, I keep on saying this because people bring the allegation. It is one thing to allege, but it's something totally different to prove. Where are the evidences? Because even our own staff, when sometimes complaints come against them, we take action against them, they go to the ombudsman office. And they have right to do that. So if you have the evidence, instead of just doing a live and talking without presenting the slightest list of evidence, aren't you, Balde, interested in that evidence for you to work on that story?
Definitely.
The drugs, there is a chain of custody. There is a process that it has to go through. But contrary to that, as I said, if you feel that there is a foul play in any other area, the avenues are available. So what we do to the best of our ability, as we have done, do the analysis, everybody sees it, do the weighman, the matter goes to court. And another huge challenge is, people used to say, after we don't hear everything.
Yeah.
This is what we could do. We cannot report from all court cases. Courts are open. But how many people go to the court to follow proceedings? And sometimes if you look at the report that we have from the mainstream media, very few report on court proceedings.
Yes.
And sometimes because of that, people are not aware.
Yes.
So what we do, as I said, is to ensure that the drugs are safe. This is a credit for us. Our partners across the globe are writing to us. And sometimes some people don't understand the risk that it takes. Especially look at the seizure. If you look at the sequence of the seizure, that night to walk on hot leads, some don't know. It took 2 days, some people did not sleep.
Wow.
From when the operation started around 7, some were on there, did not sleep up to, because, and in fact, I could remember we were moving to go to one area. I was like telling other guy, so people don't understand the risk that it takes. So this is a credit for us. And something that is a credit for us, we ourselves will be very frustrated to see otherwise. And if there's any evidence otherwise, help us about it.
Yes,
it helps to better our
So
job.
normally when you are going to do your raids, I mean, normally our personnel armed?
Legally, we are not armed. But
Seriba, that's
And
risky.
you said you're going to people who use substances.
But that's risky.
Exactly, yeah.
So this is why I'm talking about
But you know,
it.
as much as we want to protect the people, we want to know like
safety,
their rights are not being abused. We don't also want them to harm our people.
And a lot of them have been harmed. We've had officers that have...
What is
that are
legally?
succumbed.
Legally, you are not armed.
In a sense that the act that gives mandate to the agency does not give us the power to be armed.
Wow.
But this is something that is being worked on, because if you check across the region, I think we are the only narcotic institution that is not armed. And being armed, sometimes people don't understand, there is both lethal and non-lethal weapons that you can have. Some are not very lethal. So these are things, because I could remember the hashish case that was seized in 2020. Some of the quantities that were seized prior to that, working on those information, one of the guys was armed with a pistol. Just imagine such a situation. And most of the seizure around the borderline here, if you look at it, where these officers lie down sometimes at night to set this ambush, some of these traffickers are armed with cutlass, machetes, local guns. So, but as I said, something is being done. But remember, initially I said, we collect on them, they collect on us. So we want to inform the public that we are concerned about this, we are doing something to address it, but everything, as I used to tell people, even at home, when Papa and Mama talks, there are some talks that don't go to the child. Yes. It does not mean that we are putting
yes.
It's
some are confidential.
Aha.
So let's talk about the minimum sentence for drugs.
Yes, if you go by the Act, Section 35 is there. 35, like for example, let me bring cannabis. Anything below 2 kilograms is seen to be possession, not trafficking, but possession for usage. The fine is $250,000 or 3 years imprisonment, or both fine and imprisonment. Looking at the number of youths that are being arrested with cannabis, we recommended to the judiciary, the then executive, and then this thing went through National Assembly, and then it was amended. Section 35 was amended for first-time offenders and for cannabis only, reducing the fine depending on the gram from 1 gram to 250 grams, starting from $25,000 is $50,000 going up. That is for first-time offenders and for cannabis only. If it is trafficking, contrary to Section 43, subsection 4E, like for example cannabis, if it is above 2 kilograms, you can be charged for trafficking. And the fine there is $1 million and a mandatory jail term of 10 years, or to both fine and imprisonment. In default of payment, another additional 5 years. Right? So, but as I said, this is what the law has provided for. And you can even see this best standard is, when it comes to addressing this issue, law enforcement, we should take the lead on supply suppression. When it comes to prevention, we need civil society organizations to take the lead. We are all complaining about this drug problem, and mostly I don't see discussions going to this dimension. But how active are we in addressing this problem? Let CSOs, NGOs, partners prioritize addressing the issue of drugs. Arrest alone cannot solve this problem.
Exactly. I wanted to ask, are you not partnering with any institution?
We are doing our best. The youth groups, as I said, but we cannot do it alone. If we sit here and say that we can do it alone, we are just making, a wrong impression. That is not possible. In fact, it is said that drugs do not exist in isolation and cannot therefore be curbed in isolation. You need multi-sectorial approach. 1. 2, there are some funding opportunities that we don't have access to, that they could have access to. Intervention programs that we bring, entrepreneurial programs that we bring, let us look at these youths that are not part of the formal system and engage them as well. Right? But the problem is, the league has to be the scapegoat. The league has to be the bad guy and everybody has to be the good guy. And the league cannot solve it alone. And I can tell you, many youth groups are there, they end up getting frustrated because the right to institutions, when it's issues of drugs, they don't want to talk to them. Many don't want to be associated because, okay, we'll be seen as the one arresting the youth.
Yes.
And that does not solve the problem. Are you forgetting about the multiplying implication of the activities of some of these people? So that's why they say that when it comes to the prevention component, you expect CSO to take the lead. When it goes to treatment, we expect health to take the lead. But look at all the amendments that have taken place here. When you engage your partners in other countries, you see CSOs taking the lead there. These are things that are propagated and pushed by us.
Exactly.
Even the engagement for community service, for first-time offenders. These are all ideas that are being pushed by us. Wow. So are we serious when we talk about how serious the condition is? Is arrest the only thing that will solve the problem? Complaining is important, but complaining does not solve the problem. Let us all join on board. And let us not try to paint the league. Yes, we may not be perfect, but constructively criticize us so that we can better what we do.
Yes, all right. I think that's a very interesting one. I'm told time is already up. What advice do you have finally?
What I would say is, especially when I have this type of program, is to talk to the youth, to understand that we do not hate them. But what they are in cannot bring a result. It might be difficult. And in fact, it's not easy for anybody. Sitting here, you sitting there, and it does not mean that we don't have problems. Maybe we have 1,001 problems.
We do, a lot of them.
But sitting in ghetto, from morning up to night time, I used to tell some youth, if people say that you cannot make it in life, engage in something productive so that you will disappoint them. But if you sit smoking in one place from morning up to night, it does not solve the problem. That is one. Two, the issues of drugs, everybody is complaining. Let us share information. Even the most advanced nation with all the technology that they have, these drugs are still making their way. But what do they rely on? Human intelligence. You see something, say something. Even if we want, we bring police and put them everywhere here, that does not solve the problem. There are some areas that are so remote, isolated. The fences are so high. I'm not talking about the boys in the street, but those high-profile targets, when you are suspicious about something, share the information. This will help. And also, what is also important, as I said, please, we want to see CSOs taking the lead. Partners Intervention Program, prioritizing addressing issues relating to drugs. Arrest alone cannot solve this problem. It has not solved it anywhere, and it will not solve it in the Gambia.
Thank you very much. What would have been of Gambia if the Drug Law Enforcement Agency wasn't here?
Exactly.
It would have been difficult. Drug would be everywhere. Well, thank you very much, viewers, for following this program. Lolly, this is all we have on this edition. We'll be back here tomorrow.
Tomorrow, inshallah, with another new episode.
Have a wonderful day.
Thalia is a leading European brand which is now in the Gambia. Are you looking for glasses? Then you have come to the right place. As a first step, we will perform an eye exam to ensure we prescribe the correct lenses for you. After that, you can select a frame of your choice. We have a variety of brands in stock, and you will definitely find yours. You can have the full package of frame plus lenses starting from $990 up to more for the most fashionable options. Once you find a frame you like, your lenses will immediately be edged by our lab technician. Within 30 minutes, you will be able to leave with your prescription glasses and a huge smile on your face. How amazing is that? Visit us at the Tropic Shopping Center near Senegambia from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day of the week, or call us on 503-4411 or 7767-123.